You hope anyways.
He's gonna go back through and listen to it.
Then he's gonna tell.
I thought you were gonna say something about me. Yeah,
Oh no. Do you wanna know who it's about?
No, that's fine. I don't know what it is. I probably already know who it's about.
Who?
I'm taping. I can't say it now.
Oh, okay.
All right,
When it's over, right?
we were explaining number 35. We had to find a distance between each point, each city, and we had to find the location where they were at, and we used the distance formula to find the distance of each one and line them up from smallest to greatest. The next question was number 30. Which one?
What did it say?
39. PQ, which is negative 5, 2, and 0, 4. We're going to use the distance formula. Difference in my x's. 5 squared. Difference in my y's. 2. 2 squared, which is the square root of 25 and 4. 29. And then we use our calculator to find a decimal. Square root of 29 is 5 and what? 5.4. We're going to estimate to the nearest tenth. That is the distance. Then to find the midpoint, again we're going to add the x's. Negative 5 plus 0 divided by 2. Add the y's. 2 plus 4 divided by 2. We get negative 5 over 2. And we get 3 is my midpoint. This is my distance.
When do you post the videos? I'm not, I can get it. I want to hear it.
Is that good?
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Everybody good? All right, review for definition and postulate quiz. 2 rays that have a common endpoint.
Opposite segments. Opposite rays. Right, sorry.
2 rays that have a common endpoint.
A line.
Come on, come on. 2 rays that have a common endpoint. Nope. And we're ready for this postulate definition quiz.
Can you repeat the question again?
2 rays with a common endpoint.
Oh, I thought you were only doing 1.4 and 1.5.
It is.
That's what. That's what.
No.
Opposite, right?
No, not. 2 rays with a common endpoint.
Same. And yeah.
Vertex. Angle. It's an angle.
It's an angle, yes, an angle. 2 rays with a common endpoint. It is an angle.
According to the definition.
The one I don't know, it's angle, guys.
An angle whose measures between 90 and 180. Angle whose measures between 90 and 180. Just call it out. Obtuse. All right. 2 angles whose measure is a sum of 180. 2 angles. All right, supplementary. 2 angles that have a common endpoint and common side and no common interior points. Adjacent angles. 2 angles whose sides are opposite rays. Vertical angles. We have an angle whose measure is 90 degrees. An angle. A right angle. All right. An angle whose measure is between 0 and 90. Acute angle. If we have 2 angles whose measure equals 90, or sum equals 90 degrees. Complementary angle. Let me look here, let me look. A pair of adjacent angles who form a straight line, or whose non-common sides form opposite rays. A linear pair. Postulate. A linear pair If two angles are a linear pair, then they are supplementary. A ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. An angle bisector. What is my midpoint formula for our coordinates? Midpoint formula for coordinates.
That's gonna be on there.
What's that?
That's gonna be on there.
I'm just asking, what is the midpoint formula for coordinates? Come on, you had it all last night for homework. All last night for homework. All last night for homework. There's no way that you don't know this.
X plus, or x1 plus x2 over 2, and then y1 plus y2 over 2.
Correct. X1 plus y, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. What is my distance formula, distance formula for coordinate pairs? Points that are coordinates, yes.
Square root of x2 minus x1 plus square root, no, not square root, but like square root, x2 minus x1 squared, y2 minus y1 squared.
Alright, so we get the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared.
I have it
Distance
flipped.
formula. Excuse me?
I have it y's first.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Just make-
Either way, it's fine. Yes, sir.
So what's the B, A plus B over two?
A plus B, that's the midpoint formula for a coordinate. Just a point on a number line.
So that's the midpoint one, and then this coordinate one is it's got both.
Both.
And then
The X and the Y.
distance one is the
Square roots.
Okay.
If I wanted the distance between 2 points on a number line, that would just be B minus A, absolute value B minus A.
But you wanted this,
On 2 points on a number line.
so what's the difference then?
One is in the coordinate plane, one is in the number line. So say for instance, if I wanted, let's do, if I wanted the distance between X and Y, how do I find the distance between X and Y?
B, A plus B over two.
No, I just want, what's the distance between X and Y? Distance, distance. Somebody have,
X plus Y over two.
distance.
Y minus x, absolute value.
Absolute value Y minus X. If I asked you what is the distance between 3 and 10, what would you tell me? What's the distance between 3 and 10? 7. How do you figure that out?
Y minus X.
Alright, 10 minus 3, right? So distance formula for numbers on a number line is just second point minus the first point, absolute value. If I wanted the distance between X and Y, 3 minus 10, negative 7, take the absolute value. That's on a number line. On a coordinate plane, two coordinates, now the distance is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared.
So the difference is because it's horizontal on the plane?
Well, this one here, because you got two coordinates that are involved. Here, you don't have two coordinates, you only got one coordinate. How do I find the midpoint between x and y?
Midpoint is A plus B over two.
So it would be, here would be,
13 halves.
but x and y. What's the midpoint? What's the midpoint of x and y?
13 halves.
X and y.
Oh. That would be X plus Y over two.
Correct, x plus y over 2. Alright? What's the midpoint here? we find midpoint?
For that one, it's the square root of.
No, midpoint. Midpoint here. You're thinking too hard. X1 plus X2 over 2. What's X1?
X1 is -3.
What's X2? Add them.
2,
Divide by 2.
1,
1. What's your Y1?
2,
What's your Y2?
8,
Add them.
10,
Divide by 2.
5.
1, 5. Alright, so there's a difference if you're on a number line. Alright, we're one dimensional. Or we're on a coordinate plane, we're two dimensional. There's a difference. Alright, number line is just common sense, that's what you do every day anyways. Find the distance and the midpoint. Okay? Alright, any questions?
That was something in the quiz.
What's that? Midpoint formula, distance formula? Do you know them?
Somewhat.
Alright, if you know them, it doesn't matter if they're on the quiz or not. Alright? But the thing is, over half your problems used midpoint formula yesterday, and over half your problems used distance formula yesterday. So hopefully out of the 20 problems that you did last night, alright, you should remember the distance formula and the midpoint formula. Okay?